The small knit community is great. Like, I loved the like small class sizes. That was probably one of the best parts of Mulgrave for me.
I definitely wouldn't change where I went to school. I started in grade 8 and went through to grade 12. I think that at the very beginning, people were very welcoming, but I guess I'll start with the fact that I'm autistic, and when I first came to Mulgrave, I didn't know that. I actually got diagnosed within my first few months there, and I had a lot of issues with social skills and making social connections, and any connections that I made within my first few months didn't last, to put it that way. And I found that I repeatedly just said no, no, no. So by the time I was ready to make those connections, people had kind of stopped asking. I think it was hard because I was one of the first, if not, yeah, we'll just go with one of the first openly gender non-conforming students at Mulgrave ever. So I was also, I believe, one of the first openly autistic students. So between the two of them, it was definitely an interesting experience. There were a lot of issues, especially around grade 10, if I remember rightly, hearing people say those things about, like, that's so autistic and then that's so gay also happened. And I think what hurt me the most was seeing younger students, like, I was in GSA and I was kind of, like, I was one of the only older students in that club, so seeing some of those younger students really struggle in grade 8 or 9 and trying to help them and like walk them through kind of what they can do, I think was probably the hardest part.
The combination of like school and being around peers like that, it's crazy. And the way it's like affected everybody I know so intensely is like unbelievable.
I think that the biggest thing I always try and convey is that you know you best. Like, no one is going to be able to tell you how you feel. They're gonna try, but ultimately you know you best. And like, sometimes people feel pressured to come out or would really like to come out, but ultimately it's not safe. But know that eventually there will come a time. I know it's cliche, everyone says it, but it really does get better. So there will come a time where you can be authentically you, be it now, university, later in life.
High school feels like your entire life right now, and it feels like the end of the world, especially at Mulgrave, where how you do and like what university you're going to go to, and like everything at Mulgrave is such a big deal. And it's not.
I think just making sure you respect your privacy and not pushing it. If someone does come out to you, please do not go around telling other people. And if someone asks you to use a set of pronouns, but only around certain people, then you got to do your best to try and accommodate that.
You react to somebody saying a word that's not great also is really important, because I know a lot of the time when people would say stuff like that, it was because they wanted to create controversy. There was like that was a huge thing in my grade where like people, to get attention, would be like, I'm gonna say something that's like people are gonna like talk about. And so I think the biggest thing is to not get angry, but to just act disappointed.
There was a difference between tolerance and acceptance. There was tolerance, but there really wasn't as much acceptance as a whole. People said they were accepting, but then there were still jokes being made.
I think there needs to be more focus on mental health at Mulgrave. That was a huge problem for me. You need to create better help in supporting them and And I think a big way that mental health can be destigmatized is to explain the science behind it. You guys are smart. You'll understand it. You don't need to, I think there's an element of babying you guys surrounding the ideas of mental health, and I don't think it's needed.
It's hard. It really is. Because at Mulgrave, there are certain values, right? And they are, like, you're expected to believe them or go along with them, right, as a student. But if you're having different things be told to you at home, it can be really hard, right? It can be hard if you're closeted and you don't have an accepting family, or it can be hard as an ally with the non-accepting family. If you're trying to go out there and be an ally and you have parents or whoever, like, I don't want to assume anything, but if you have people telling you, like, no, you can't be an ally, like, why are you associating with those people? They're gonna turn you whatever. Like, whatever they're saying, it can be hard, right? And maybe I can't change that, but we can have a conversation. Like, you can have that mutual respect regardless of their views.